Thelma from Trinity Primary School to come and pray for us.
Give Thelma.
May we please humble ourselves and pray? Almighty Lord Jesus Christ, I pray for the weather today. May it be calm. I also pray for all the people who are going to present. Send your Holy Spirit. Cover them with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Do we remain standing or do we sit? It's up to you. If you want them standing, you ask them to remain standing. If you want them sitting, you ask them to sit. It's your decision, and they're holding their breath.
May we please sit down?
Well, you're lucky. She thinks you should sit. If I were you, I would have kept them standing a little bit, especially now that they're not even clapping their hands, that you've asked them to sit. Fantastic. Well, the band can take their seats as well. Do you think they should sit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because they've done us very, very good. Where's the band coming from?
Half of the band is from Trinity Senior.
And the other half?
And the other half is from Trinity Primary School.
And the quarter?
There is no quarter.
There's no quarter, it's just half and half.
Yes.
Which makes a whole band. Fantastic. So, who do we have as MCs today?
You're most welcome. My name is Malaika Nakarundi Megan from in P4 class from Trinity Primary School. Well, I welcome you all with warm welcomes.
Okay.
And this is my co-MC.
Who is not your dad?
No.
Okay. Does he look like your dad?
No.
No. Your dad has hair, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this one has lost. You know, God cuts half of my, actually 3/4 of my hair is cut by God. The other quarter is by some guy called a Baba. You know those? No. Okay, fine. Ladies and gentlemen, it's certainly a pleasure to have you around, and Malaika and myself are very, very excited to be your hosts for the day. We'll certainly have a lot to think about. We'll have a lot to celebrate. I'm particularly excited to be around with Malaika here. Believe you me, many years ago, I began my career in public speaking at the age of Malaika. Malaika is a little luckier that she begins out with a much bigger audience than I began with. At this time, we will have the welcoming remarks, and those are going to be given to us or delivered by Mr. Richard Sewachilianga, who is the Executive Director of the NGO Forum. Mr. Richard Sewachilianga, if you're around, we'd like to hear from you. And I'll ask Malaika. Malaika, do you know what they call those shirts?
They are African print shirts.
They are African print shirts.
So good morning once again.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, I hear they had sir, so thank you very much for coming. As you all know, we are here because today is the what do we call it? International Children's Day. I think while it's called the International Children's Day, we should also call it the Uganda Children's Day, so that it's not only seen as international, but it's also seen as a day for us as Ugandans. So welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for making time this morning to be with us and all the children. The good thing is that all of us have ever been children, and that I think is a good thing, because it means that we can all look back and say something about our experience, but we can also be able to say something about ourselves connected with children, either as parents. And for the children who are here, the good thing is that you are all children, and you will move out from being children and become adults. And there will be children that will come after you. So I think that for us, it is always exciting to be with children, because the whole experience of childhood is very much a part of what we are. As the Uganda National NGO Forum, we are a platform organization, which means that we bring together many NGOs across this country. And some of our partners are children and NGOs working on children's issues, either rights, servicing children, helping children, or supporting children. So today we are associating with them with a kind support from our partners, UNICEF. Is there any child here who knows what UNICEF is? If you do, yes, there is somebody behind there, he knows what UNICEF is, and she's going to come and run here and tell us what UNICEF is so that I don't have to mention it.
UNICEF in full is United Nations Children's Fund.
Okay, thank you very much. Clap for her and for UNICEF. UNICEF is the Children's Fund, the Global Children's Fund that looks at issues of children. And as you know, it is not only a Ugandan organization, but it is part of the United Nations. And it works to promote children's rights, children's development across the world through something called the Convention of Rights of Children. Because the World Children's Day that started in 1954 is celebrated everywhere in the world on the 20th of November. And so we think that it is important to celebrate it because actually in 1959, that is when the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Declaration on the Rights of Children. And when it adopted it, then they came up with what is now called the Convention of Children. While I'm not wearing blue and many others are not wearing blue, you can see that this whole tent has been made blue. And there is a reason for that, because globally it has been accepted and decided that the color that we are going to use this year is the color blue. Why blue? Because blue is the color of peace. Blue is the color of tranquility. Blue is the color of calmness. For those of you who know what blue is. All right? So today, those who can have put on blue. Unfortunately, I woke up without thinking very quickly that I needed to put on blue. But you can see that many of our colleagues have done that. But you know, we are not just putting on colors for the sake of putting on colors, but we are putting on these colors because we want to make sure that we remember that a peaceful, let me use a simple word which we all know, a peaceful environment is very, very important for children. To grow up as a child and to be able to explore your potential, it is always good to have a safe place and a peaceful place. What that means is that all of us adults must make sure that children are enjoying their full potential. They do what they like, we help them to do what they like, and we support them in whichever way we can. And therefore, some of the things that we have to denounce on this day are the things that hurt children. And you know that one of the key things that hurts children in this day here in Uganda is something called early what? Early marriage. And actually for me, I don't think it should even add the word marriage. Because if anybody is not yet for the age of marriage, we shouldn't call it marriage. I think we should call them early unions with men, which are wrong, because they are not marriage. Marriage is something very different, but that's a problem that we should all condemn, that all of you children, especially our young girls, you should work hard to avoid anybody who talks about marriage until you have finished school and you are ready for work or you have graduated. But another thing that we also have to think about this day is the whole question of child labor. As you know, while it is good for you to learn how to work, while it is good for you to help at home, it is not good for you to become a full-time laborer as a child. So again, we want to make sure that we parents and all of us in this country can work on that as another issue. The other key issue that we condemn on this day is the issue of violence against children. We don't want to see any child beaten. Yes, children can be reprimanded when they do something that is not right, but it should never be that they should be beaten. So, something that we should condemn today is the whole question of violence against children, both in homes and also at school, but also maybe anywhere in the community. There are other issues that are also important for us to recognize and make sure that it shouldn't be part of our communities. The issue of teenage pregnancies, the issues around drug abuse, the issues around child neglect, and issues around child prostitution. All these are things that we should condemn and make sure that they don't define ourselves at all. Some of the issues which we should focus on this Children's Day. We should make sure that they are not there in our communities, and what that means is that for you as children, you should know that these are dangers and you should not be part of them. But also for the parents who are here, for the other older teenagers and other adolescents and others, I think it's important that we don't see this as part of our community life. We also use this day, of course, to remind government about the obligations that they have for safeguarding children's rights, and also we use this occasion to ensure that we demand some accountability. And there are many places where we want accountability. For me, which I really want accountability is in the issues related to primary education. You know that in this country, if you have 100 children in primary 1, by the time you get to primary 7, only 25 of them will have finished primary leaving examinations. So one would ask, where do the other 75 children go? They don't die, most of them. Maybe they just disappear, become child marriage, into this and into that. So we should be always thinking about that we want to make sure that our education system can ensure that the 100 children that start primary 1 actually graduate in primary 7 and go on to senior 1. That is important because the only way we can ensure that our communities are going well is when our children are accounted for fully, they stay in school, they learn, and they are able to meet their life potential. But we also want to bring attention to the whole question of child rights by ensuring that public and political attention is there to protect children and to make our environment safe. One way of protecting children for me is to make sure that children don't see any violence. And I think that I find it very hard when I see so many images, especially on our TVs, in our newspapers, that show violent behavior, that show policemen pushing people, that show people pushing each other. I think that one of the things we have to account for ourselves as adults is to ensure that the images of violence do not continue to play in our children's mind, because that's one way of making children safe. So I want all of you to join me to make sure that we shun these images of violence that sometimes even make our children either traumatized, scared, and not feeling very, very safe. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to this day, and thank you very, very much for the time that you have given us. We welcome you, and now I'll hand you back to our presenters so we can move on with the rest of the program. I thank you for listening.
You clap properly. Some of you didn't take breakfast.
I can assure you, Malaika, that breakfast will come and they will have it in a very little bit.
Today, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank Samson for helping me to open up myself to come and talk to you.
Well, I'm not so sure I've done that. I think your parents have done a much, much better job. And they've probably done a better job than I have with my girls. My girls have not yet done what you have done. I actually have girls. You want to know how many they are?
Yes.
There are 3, 4, 5? No. There are 3 girls and 1 is adopted. Do you have an adopted sister?
No.
Do you want one? I can share mine. Okay, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to move over to the next bit of our program, which is?
We are going to be entertained by Buckley, isn't it?
Yes, Buckley. He's from Uganda. Buckley, where are you?
Yes, here today. Dear black parents, fellow girl and children, in this struggle for freedom, ladies and gentlemen, on this day of today, the 20th of November, year after year, we gather to celebrate and commemorate the United Nations Universal Children's Day. This is the day, established in 1954 by the United Nations. In 1959, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Declaration of Rights of Children. Then in 1989, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Convention of Rights of Children. Do you know how? Let us tell you. This is a day of reflection to every normal, passionate human being who has the child at heart and the sense to create a conducive, enabling environment to enable children of today live a life of victory. By the children taking over and turning the world blue. And why not? Yes, we can. To live in peace, love, and unity. And for this reason,
school for physically handicapped? We all need each other. Imagine a world of friendship, where our special bond of unity has no beginning or any end. A world where we walk, heart to heart, each day, sharing all our special love together. Imagine we never walk away from each other, standing beside one another as loving and loyal. Imagine a world of harmony, sharing our hopes and dreams freely. We never walk away from each other, standing beside one another as loving and royal. Well, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I guess I'm not the only one. I hope someday we will all join hands as we keep the better faith tomorrow. Thank you.
Malika, are you satisfied with the hand clap?
I'm sure they can clap louder.
Who knows what happens when children are neglected? Put your hand up if you know.
When children are neglected, they drop out of school. I'm from Berkeley High School. When children are neglected, they get miscarriages and disturbance of the brain.
My name is Apio Gladys. I'm from Makerere University Primary School. When children are neglected, they end up disappearing from home.
My name is Nashale Daniela. I'm from Trinity Primary School. I think when children are neglected, they'll feel lonely.
Okay, they will feel lonely. Your hand was up. What did you want to say? You had the answer. For which question? Okay, let me ask the second question so that you answer it since you already have the answer. When children are neglected, or when parents, I'm trying to look for a good soft word, when parents do not take their responsibilities seriously and they neglect children, what are children likely to consume or to drink that they shouldn't be drinking? Sorry? Sewage? Yuck.
Poison.
Poison, yes. Some children have died in the process. Yes?
Mad.
Mad, yeah. One more.
Drugs.
Drugs. I think that's, give everybody a very big hand clap. The role of parents and role of parenting. We'll talk about parenting. Do you know child neglect?
I've heard of it, but I don't know it.
You've never experienced child neglect?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's a bad thing?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good morning, children. Good morning, children.
Good morning, madam.
When I say our children, you say our future. Is that okay? Our children.
Our future.
Our children.
Our future.
Our future.
Our children.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joyce Atimango. Okay. I'm the Executive Director of Trailblazers Mentoring Foundation. I am happy to be part of this day to commemorate the Universal World Children's Day.
I'm called Achema Mzamil. I work for Uganda National NGO Forum, and I'm here to commemorate the day. Thank you very much.
My name is Lydia Buite. I work with Platform for Labor Action. I'm happy to celebrate with you because I was also once a child.
Okay, some would say you're still a child depending on who you ask, whether you ask your parents or God. You could still be a child. Let me just engage, Malika and I will engage the children for a little bit just before we come back to the panel here. Things that we had the kids talk about and why we end up here. I'll give a few moments each for each one of the panelists here to give us their first thoughts before we open the floor for a few minutes so that the questions will be fired from the audience that is very eager to ask, especially that there are some parents here, apart from myself.
Because a parent is one who not only gives birth to a child, but is expected to nurture and bring up the child to live to their full potential. So it looks at ensuring that they meet the needs of a child. For example, emotional needs, like loving children, showing the children that they belong to the family, giving them physical needs, like providing basic needs, for example, food, pads for girls, ensuring that the children have knickers, but also they addressing the psychological needs and the social needs of the child. So if this is lacking, then the children resort to getting married before 18 years. The children will go to the streets because there is no one at home to provide the love, to cater for them, to support them. You've had some children dropping out of school. So those are some of the effects of weak parenting. I am deeply touched by one of the children who say that when parents give birth to disabled children, they neglect them, thinking that these children cannot grow up and be meaningful children, that they cannot participate in development. So we have, from the different field experiences, this has always come up. Many children with disabilities are continuously being denied access to education. Many of them are not in school. Others are locked in the houses. They are not provided for food. They are not given opportunity to participate in the home. They are not consulted. They don't play. So parenting is a very big issue. It is a challenge right now in Uganda. And all parents who are out there, I think we need to go back to the drawing board. The challenges are broad. Of course, this is the effect of globalization, what we call development. You know, it comes with its own challenges. Because of development, because of the high cost of living, parents are very busy fending for their families. Others want to ensure that the children go to the good schools. But what does this lead to? There is no time for the children. So you find that many of the children stay home under the care of housemaids, listening to funny music. I call it funny. Yes, but music or plays that are poisonous to the body. There is a girl who mentioned something to do with psychological or emotional torture. So it is a call for all of us parents to take action.
Just to pick up from...
I want to ask the second panelist. Do parents know their responsibilities?
Wow. Thank you very much. I love to stand. You'll excuse me. I think, Malaika, I should say today, as parents, yes, we know our responsibilities, but also no. Why? Because we subject our children mostly to television. This is our urban setting. But when we look at the village settings where people used to have the folk tales and so on and so forth, these practices have faded out, and so children, parents actually do not have time for their children. And in this regard, as much as we know our responsibilities as parents, most times we actually hand over our children to the schools they go to or to the churches or mosques they go to. And because of what my colleague had just said, the issues of globalization, that everybody's out to look for something, then we eventually forget or even neglect our roles as parents. That's to your question.
Yes. May we give her a hand clap?
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Malaika, for that question. Just before I hand over, what I wanted to add onto what the ED has just said is that as much as we are parents, it is true, just like Malaika said, we are not sure of whether we are parents or not. Because there's being a parent, but also there's being a responsible parent. Those are two different concepts. And from the discussions that we've just had, the question that Pastor put to the children, you will realize that this is their day, and this is actually the day for them to debate on issues that they want us as parents to do differently. So I would really appreciate if we can have this as an interactive process.
Okay. Thank you very much. I agree with the speaker who said there's nothing like child marriage. It's just defilement. There's no even two ways about it. You cannot be talking of child marriage. Even when my grandmother got married at 14, I mean, those days are gone. Yeah, I think the ignorance at the time allowed things of that nature to happen. We cannot, in days of fistula and the knowledge we have, to get ourselves in that place, even when we have religious interpretations, in my opinion, that could be defined as ridiculous. But talking married parents here, how do we get even to the place where we use culture as a reckless excuse, use religion as a reckless excuse, and then we have absentee dads who forgot all about their responsibility ever since they left the bedroom and conceived children? I think that's the only contribution they've ever made. I mean, how do we get to where we are? Or can you even use the fact that, well, my wife died, what could I do? I mean, the kids have to go out somewhere. I think the only thing we do is going to the bar and drinking ourselves away, then we show up for graduation parties and I think pick up dowries. We must be embarrassed as men, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Indeed, most of Ugandans, why children are failing because of we men. It's because we took culture, as I said, as an issue. We look at a girl child as an income. If the children are growing at home, you send a boy child to school, you mentor a girl child, purposely for marriage. That's why you see most of the issues to be with the child reunion. I don't want to say child marriage. Richard said it's called child reunion. That one all now comes on board. Looking at issue of children, why most of them are dropping school is because the parents, two parents are not sitting together. There's that internal competition among the mother and the father, guidance, parents, parenting is very poor. The mother tends to be very busy, maybe looking for food, and the man goes for drinking. That is the fact of it on ground. And as parent, I want to advise our children. The two parents will take responsibility of handling the children. As stated before, they should support them from childhood up to university. They should become good citizens of this country, rather than looking them at as the source of income, and then also making them to go into the streets as the street children. That's what, as a parent, I can say. Thank you very much.
A father. Both.
One or two more. Let me ask this question, Malaika, if I may. The majority definitely think both, isn't it? Yes. Then those who did not agree that it's both think it is a father. Nobody said a mother, no. If you noticed.
Some people love their mother so much.
Why do you think that a mother should never be blamed? I'd like to hear from the children. She doesn't do it willingly. She is forced by circumstances, isn't it? Okay, she's out there in the labor ward, so why take the blame? Yes?
A mother raises up a child.
Mother raises up a child. How about a father?
Is more responsible than your father.
Why do you think so? That's interesting.
Some fathers just leave the mother with their children.
Because the mother produced the child.
Because some fathers use their money to bed instead of using it to feed the children and the school fees. So the mother has to work for everything.
Neglect. Fathers.
It's the father to be blamed because a mother passes through pain to produce a child.
Doesn't a father also go through that pain? Well, I went through it. Let's hear from one more, then Malaika, you bring the mic back so we hear from another panelist. Just one more.
Every time, sometimes in some families, children hear the parents say, "This money doesn't pay for the children's school fees. What should you do?" Speaking such kind of words, so children think that the mother is not supposed to be blamed because she suffers more than the father.
Interesting. I think what is coming through here is the conversations around the home. Get children to take sides. Because in our wars, we drag the kids in. And then kids develop the idea that some parents have responsibilities more than others. That's what they see. And we are discussing, or the discussion will be around strategies for reducing and engaging boys. Malaika, what do you think boys should do when girls are being married at the wrong age?
I'm sure they need to support, or some need to avoid such things.
Okay. Let's find out from the audience. Let's ask the boys here. Are there some who think they're boys? Put up your hand if you're sure you're a boy. Because some are not sure. Okay, fine. What do you think you boys should do when go to sexual slavery? What do you think you boys should do?
We should stick at going at school. No, we should stick. We must avoid bullies who lead us to doing such things.
Okay, avoid bullies. What do you think?
We should report to the police.
Fantastic report to the girls.
Prevent those issues.
Is it the girl's problem that she's being taken earlier than she would have liked to go?
It's the men's problem.
So why cancel the girls, not the men? Well, no answer coming in there.
Before
Yes?
you continue, Samson,
Yeah.
I'm seeing people yawning, fanning. Don't get tired now. There's too much to see.
Okay. To let us in on boy champions, who are they and what is their role? We'll begin with you, sir.
Hello, children. Hello, children. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Me, I'm a young boy. I'm a young what? My name is Gerard Okiria, and I work with Compassion. How many of you have heard of Compassion International? Do you have anyone here who is sponsored by Compassion? Okay, I'm sure there are very, very few. But my name is Gerard. Once upon a time, I was very young, like you, by the way. You know that I was once a boy? Yeah, and right now I'm a big boy. That's why they call me a boy champion. I was once a young boy. I went to school. I was once a scout. Scouts, we. Wow. Scouts, we. Wow. Like a wee. So for all the boys, if you're happy and you're proud to be a boy, give yourself a big hand clap. Let's have the ladies, the girls, also clap for the boys, because these boys are champ. Eh? Why are you saying that? Okay. Only the beautiful ladies, the beautiful girls, please clap for the boys. Only the beautiful ones. Those who have not clapped, meaning you're not. Yeah, but we are all very beautiful. I work for Compassion and Compassion International. I was once a teacher for children, meaning I love children, I teach them. And then I normally see how boys are shy, they don't want to sit next to girls. So let me see. Are you sure? It's a serious, even today. Okay, where are the girls? Please raise up your hands. And where are the boys? You see, boys are here, girls are this way. But for you to be a boy champion, you really need to be very good and you need to be caring towards your sisters. Some of you said when you see a boy or when you see a man taking away your sister, you need to make sure that you do what? You fight them, which other thing? But you see, someone said that you report them to police, which is very good. To become a boy champion, you need to know that you're much stronger than the girls, not so? It is the truth. Boys are normally stronger than the girls. Of course, there are some girls who are older than the boys. Yes. You may be older than the boy, but the boy is stronger than you, so you don't have to fight. For me, I was taught not to fight with what? With girls. So if you want to be a boy champion, you don't fight with what? With girls. So that we make the world what? We turn the world what? And then I have a few things that I'll be sharing. One of the big boys that I like is Samson Kasum. How many of you have ever seen Samson on TV, on NBS? He speaks good English. And whenever he's on TV, you feel like you need to see him. So by the end of my presentation, I want to shake hands with Samson Kasumba. So, I don't know, do I use this opportunity to share some of the strategies? Yeah. One of the things, if you want to be a boy champion, and this is mainly for the boys and also the girls, you can also learn from it. For all the boys, you must belong to a place of worship. You must be part of church. Yes. If you want to be a boy champion, because tomorrow when you get married and now you have children, probably also only have girls, you'll have to take your children for baptism, and if you don't have a church, you can't take the children at your wife's church. You have to take them to the boys' church. So for all children, you must belong in a church. You must belong, some of you are Muslims, you must belong in a mosque. So that you're able, you see, when you are in church, you're able to know which values, what does the church expect of you, and if your sister has a problem, you can find ways of how to talk to them. The second thing is you need to know that you're boys. When you're a boy, you're going to become a father, and between mothers and fathers, who have a lot of money? Is it the mothers or the fathers? Fathers have a lot of money. Clap for yourselves. Yes. Why do you think fathers have a lot of money? They do what? And then the other thing, they are hardworking. They also pay school fees. So if you are a boy and you don't know that tomorrow you're going to become a father and you don't have money, you will not be able to pay school fees for your children. So you need to study very hard and pass PLE and pass which other thing? Senior 4, Senior 6, and also become a graduate. You get a good job over with Compassion, or with the Ministry of Gender, or even Uganda NGO National Forum, something like that. So you need to work so hard. Then the other thing is you need to finish school. Some of you want to get out of school for you to be a boy, a boy champion. And when a boy studies very hard, even a girl would want to say, can I also study very hard? Like the way Gerard is studying. You see? And if you know you are a girl, how many of you are firstborns here and you're a girl? Yeah, exactly. And you have brothers who are younger than you. Thank you. Now, can all boys clap for all those girls who are firstborns? Yes. It is very good. Yeah. For me, all my sisters are older than me, but I had to make sure I studied very hard. Yeah. Even when my sisters were in higher classes, I had to study very hard and finish school and graduated. Okay? And right now, me and my sisters can speak good English and we are able, to share with each other. Then finally, you need to learn a number of things. How do you make soap? Whenever they are teaching girls at school how to cook, boys don't go and hide. Learn how to cook. Learn how to. Who has said yes? Clap for yourself. Boys learn how to cook. Learn how to speak to people, among other things. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Gerard. My name is Jonah Ekwayo. I work with Trailblazers Mentoring Foundation. And I think I'm about to say I'm a champion, or I'm about to say I'm a champion of change. Children, are you happy?
Yes.
If you're happy and you know, say I am.
I am.
If you're happy and you know, say I am.
I am.
If you're happy and you know, and you really want to show, if you're happy and you know, stand up. We're talking about boy championship and male engagement. How many of us sit next to a boy in class?
I'm a boy. I sit next to a boy.
Okay, and you're happy with that? Very happy with that? You need to be very happy about that. Why? Isn't it? For anything that happens, there must be a friend. And not only a friend, but a good? Are your friends good at school? Now the boys who are here, if you're called a bad boy in school, or if you're called a bad friend, then that is not championship. That is not championship. Is you coming up and the girls saying, yes, I think John, Peter, Samson, Gerard, Jonah can do this for the girls. What is that special thing you're doing for the girls at school? The boys, are you listening? What is that special thing you're doing? It is very, very sad for you to stand up and begin laughing at your friend because she's in her menstrual cycle. And tomorrow she doesn't come back to school. Does that make you happy? You need to be supportive. You need to be supporting the girls. A bit disturbed. I heard most of the people were saying, including Malaika, she said, the mothers care a lot. What is happening to the fathers? Personally, I would also get up and say, yes, mothers care a lot. Because I have the same experience. But we are saying that must change. It should change. We all have to care. All of us must care. say fathers careless. Boys at school. Who are the biggest bullies in school? Who bullies a lot? Is it a boy or a girl? If it is a boy, say one. Okay, let's say, is it a boy? Yes. Is it the girls? Yes. Exactly, and that gives you a better picture of what is happening. Please, boys, you must stay away from that kind of nicknaming you. You are the bully. My son there said fight. No. Maybe it means fighting in a good way. Fighting for the rights of the girls. And that is what we call championship. If we have an MP in the house who is busy fighting for girls' rights, who is busy fighting for boys' rights, we are going to say that MP is a child champion, isn't it? So, the boys who are here, please, don't wake up tomorrow and realize that there is a right honorable Speaker of Parliament who is a lady and used to bully her at school. That is very bad. That there is a child with a physical challenge or physically handicapped and you are busy acting the man. What people call the patriarchal element. Patriarchal means the men want to take over everything, and you'll realize that most of the cultural rights that we're having are making it very hard for the children to take over and turn the world blue. And most of these rights deny you, the children, especially the girls, your human rights. Do you know you have rights? Yes. Malaika, I only get only 2 rights from the children. Only 2 rights. Only 2. Please help me. I will get from 2 or 3.
Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech.
A right to education.
Okay. Someone said the right to identification, probably being identified that you were taking care of you. And then she has said the right to education. But if you're going to use your rights, the children, if you're going to use, most especially the boys, if you're going to use your rights to overshadow or to make the other children's rights unrecognized, abusing other children's rights because you have the right to education, you want to be the only one in class, you have the right to probably to feed, and then when people are going to the kitchen, you're busy pushing them, you're busy shouting at them because you are a boy. That is not boy championship. That is not boy what? Please make sure, for those of us who are in mixed schools, in case there is any club formation, please say, we also want boys to be there, such that the boys can help us recognize and get our rights. Is that okay? Is that clear? So, make sure when you go back to school, when you go back to your teachers, ask them, how are we going to involve the boys in understanding our rights, the girls, okay? You ask the teacher, how shall we involve the boys in understanding our rights and making us achieve what we're supposed to achieve? My friend here, Gerard, gave an example. He said, Samson is his either mentor or role model or something like that. And yes, it is true. Because when you look at Samson on TV, at times he's not alone, but he's with a lady. Giving us the news we would want to hear and giving us the updates we would want to hear. And that is what we need to work together. We need to work in a meet. We need to work. Boys and girls, please, the boys appreciate that the girls are part of us. Is that okay? Appreciate that the girls are part of us. And without them, then we are doing nothing and we shall achieve nothing. Are we together? Before I conclude, and actually I'm through. Are we together? If we're together and you know, say we are.
We are.
If we're together and we are, say we are.
We are.
Thank you so much. And the boys, please, I'll be coming always to ask you if you're involving girls and respecting their rights. Is that okay? Are you going to respect their rights? Please make sure you tell the teachers that I did this today in respect of a girl's right. Is that okay? Thank you so much. Thank you.
May we give him a hand clap?
How many of you?
Boys.
Yeah.
Have you had?
Yeah. Boys, have you had? Have you had? Have you had? Who has ever bullied a girl? Good, let me find out. Let me hear from you. Did he stop?
Yes.
When did he stop?
Last year.
Jackson, why are you a bully?
You enjoy it.
Do you enjoy bullying?
No.
Then why do you do it? Oh, are you going to become a boy champion, Jackson?
Yes.
When will you start becoming a boy champion?
Today, now, tomorrow.
So you are going to bully today as well? Okay, good. Give Jackson a big hand clap. He's also decided to become a boy champion starting today. Give Jackson a big, big hand clap.
We are going to have inclusiveness and inclusiveness. Thank you. We are going to focus, will be around children with special needs.
All right, let's have next panel. Uganda has two visionaries, myself and another one.
I'm on the panel for inclusiveness. And I want to appreciate you for participating in this event. I want to teach you a love clap. Can everyone say a love clap? A love clap. Malaika, come and hold for me this microphone. We do a love clap. So, our love clap is like this. Are we ready to do it? I have a little girl. I'm also a mother. I have a little girl. She's called Talia. Okay? So I love children so much. I've worked with children for a very long time. I actually started my career at Uganda National NGO Forum. I used to volunteer there as a research assistant, sir. And so we're going to do a love clap. Are we ready for the love? Yes. Can we just roll that love?
I think he must have a very good reason why he's on the panel, so he begins.
Yes. Good afternoon, children, and good afternoon, elders. I'm called Richard Anguyo. Richard Anguyo is my name. I'm happy that I've been the first to be chosen because I grew as a disabled child, special needs. So I've been living since 1960s today with my visual impairment. And you cannot see it. So, I'm from the National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda. Now that is the umbrella organization of people with disabilities. It is an advocacy organization. Our role is to advocate for children who are disabled and who need special needs services. But particularly within Ludipo, there are small organizations. So I'm from the organization called Disability Empowerment Center Uganda. Disability Empowerment Center Uganda. My role is to empower children with disabilities so that they have the ability like any other child. We are all children, but within us there are children who are disabled and there are children who have special needs. They have functional difficulties. So, I want to give you two slogans today you go away with. Disability is not in a... Children sing that disability is not inability. Say that one. And it comes in time. So when you get it, don't get worried. Don't tell mommy, I'm now disabled. Don't cry, because disability is not inability. So I want you to go with that slogan in your life until you die. Disability is not inability. And when you become a president or a minister, you will say disability is not inability. That's one. Two. The second slogan I want you to learn today: leave no one behind. Say that one. Leave no one behind. Do not leave me behind. Leave nobody behind. Now, in your home, if your father is giving out sweets and you have 5 children, he has left you. He said, Daddy, you have left me behind. You complain. Okay? Or if you're a girl and a disabled child, the mother or father has taken others to school, you complain. You say, Daddy, you have left me behind. If the school is organizing sports for other children, disabled children, you must complain. Don't keep quiet. You say, Headmaster, you have left us. Don't leave me. So those are the 2 slogans I want you to learn in your life. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, children. My name is Sam Okirin. I work for Kampala School for Physically Handicapped as a teacher. And we work with children. Children, are you there? Yes. Can you shout at your friends? Say, we are here. We are here. Malaika said inclusiveness. What does it mean? I thought the Uganda National NGO Board did not include that in this gathering. We should have been seated everywhere. That's what we mean by inclusiveness. Instead, we have been made to sit according to our schools or according to the organization we belong to. Now, as a teacher, we encourage, we promote that children participate in all activities of society. We encourage that schools open to receive children with special needs, like my colleague has said. That's inclusiveness. We encourage that children with special needs go to the schools, the ordinary schools, where their peers learn. That's inclusiveness. Children, are you inclusive? Are you inclusive? Yes. Can I ask you to go and include yourself there? For those of you who are able-bodied, that's inclusiveness. I want to get volunteers. Malaika, are you inclusive? Can you belong to that group? If you go there, then you become inclusive. Then we shall be inclusive. Can you move there?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Who would like to become inclusive? Can you belong there, Ajua? Let's go. Another person? Another person? Who wants to become inclusive? Inclusive. That's what we mean. Accepting others in our ordinary setups. That's being inclusive. We are asking government. I'm told that there is an honorable member of parliament here. We are asking government that, yes, you have made the policies. They are in place. Can we functionalize them? The school, why? The setups, the infrastructure in schools is still segregative. It's not inclusive. This group is representing a smaller group of children, but thousands of children in this country are still at the backyards. They cannot access that these children can use such that they can stay at school. We are saying, let's make the playgrounds even for them to play in. For us as Kampala School for Physically Handicapped, we allow other children from ordinary setups to come and play with us, to come and join us in our activities. We don't want to be identified because of our challenges. We belong to the community. If you ask us to come there, we shall come. Shall we come? Yes. Shall we come? Yes. Children, can we belong there? Let's show them that we belong to them. Let's come. We belong to them. Give them a hand clap. They belong to you. Inclusiveness. We have one person here with a different color. She's inclusive. That's why she's here. Can we clap for her? Accepting differences within one setup. That's inclusiveness. Teachers, our teaching strategies should be opened to receive children with diverse learning challenges. That's inclusiveness. Our curriculum, presenter, the curriculum is still rigid. It's not inclusive. Can we break down the teaching methods? to allow these children come. When the government implemented UPE for the very first time in 1997, hundreds and hundreds of children went to school, including those with disability. But within a short time, many of them ran back, because what they found there was not enabling them to include themselves in the programs. Please, teachers, please, government, please, members of parliament, we are crying that give us chance, we shall be able to participate, we shall be able to achieve our potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will welcome the chief guest, and then after the chief guest is in, we'll continue with the last panelist on the panel on inclusiveness.
I'm winding up on inclusiveness, like I told you. My name is Lillian Mate. Inclusiveness, all to leave others behind. The next set we are looking at is the community. Is the community aware of their roles in supporting children with special needs? Are the children aware of their roles, how they can support fellow children? So inclusiveness is not only left at the family tree, it also comes later to the community. But what is our accountability? We make sure that our government, the duty bearers are providing appropriate infrastructure in terms of classroom blocks and other facilities that he has mentioned, where children are inclusive enough. So when I say inclusiveness, you say our role. Inclusiveness, our role. Inclusiveness, our role. The family, the community, and your government is responsible. And the government has allowed us as actors who have to hold the candle and make sure that children have inclusive learning. Thank you very much. Can we give ourselves the final love clap? Do we remember it? Yes. 1, 2, 3, some love. Thank you.
Fellow children to them, these beautiful and handsome looking children are going to talk on your behalf, and I'm very sure we're all represented and we are inclusive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to listen to them, pay attention to what they're saying, and if you feel there's anything else you want to add on top of that after some time, you can get any of them so we can arrange something final and share with our chief guest. Is that okay? Yes. So are we ready? Malaika, we're going to have 2 microphones, maybe one that side and the other side. We shall.
Wednesday. What does it mean?
It means that children should thank God for their lives.
Children should rejoice about their rights. Children come to know their rights and responsibilities.
But many children are being defiled by our parents, elders, and many people found in our community.
Many children are being forced into early marriages, most especially girls.
Many children are kidnapped in cities.
Many children are sacrificed everywhere.
But children are given corporal punishments in schools.
Children are defiled.
But this can be changed.
Sexual violence in schools and communities need to stop. Intensify reportings and follow up of cases.
Expedite implementation of child protection laws and policies to achieve Vision 2030. Promote positive social cultural norms and practices to end child marriage. Support boys or men to be champions of change in their communities to end child marriages.
An educated girl is an empowered girl.
Support re-entry of pregnant girls and child mothers back to school.
Invest resources in strategies which prevent child marriages.
Invest in adolescent girls and citizens.
Provide equal rights and opportunities for girls and young women to benefit from development outcomes.
Girls need opportunity and space to amplify their voice.
Boy or male champions for gender equality.
Together, let's make the world blue for children. Thank you.
Hello everyone. How are you? By the names, I'm called Kakulu Brave and I'm from KFPH. I'm here representing our school. We, the children with disability, want to thank the uni and the government for bringing us on board with other children. Today we are here to represent many children who are out there and with many challenges. Many of us have been abused in many ways. 1, denied access to education, denied access to information, and defiled. 4, neglected. We want to ask our guests to take our views to the parliament and inform them that we need their support to achieve our potential. Thank you for listening to me.
Give him a better hand.
I'm Nafila Miriam from Berkeley High School. I carry a title for the head girl. I've come here to talk about the child abuse and neglect in Busoga region, especially Uganda district. The chief guest, all distinguished guests present, our guests and teachers, fellow girls and children in the struggle for our freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the 20th of November, 2018, we gather to commemorate and celebrate the United Nations Universal Children's Day. This is the day that is honored and celebrated in the whole world. Our country, Uganda, became part of the agreement to honor the rights of a child in 1990. On behalf of the children of this world and Uganda in particular, I'd like to thank the United Nations organization and the government of Uganda for putting fight against child abuse and forefront and support given to ensure respect children is improved. Many organizations have come back to support rights of children. However, there is still a lot to be done to ensure total freedom of children from child abuse and neglect. This is because child abuse and neglect is on the rise and the situation is worrying, both in rural and urban areas. The common forms of child abuse in Busoga region include the following. 1. Child labor, especially in sugarcane plantations, mining, fishing, and housemaids. 2. Defilement by adults who don't care and mind about children. 3. Battering or beating children that cause injuries and some death. 4. Verbal insults. 5. Child trafficking. 6. Child sacrifice and some other forms of sexual offenses that harm children. The common forms of child neglect in Busoga region include the following. Denial of food by some parents to their children. Isolation of children by their parents. Denial of education and clothing. Denial of medical care and security. Some children lack good shelter because of poverty. These are other forms of neglect not named cause a lot of harm to children. The categories of children listed below are the most vulnerable to be abused. Child laborers in homes, fishing areas, sugarcane plantations, stone quarries, brick making, and many more. Out of school children who are isolated and made to do odd jobs. Children with disabilities because they are isolated and tortured by their parents or guardians. Stepped out children who are mostly raped and defiled by stepfathers and uncles. The orphans who lack parental care and always abused by caretakers. Street children who are homeless and lack basic needs. And the house girls and maids who are abused by their employers. This is important to note that child sexual abuse can happen to any child, anytime, anywhere, and by anybody. It is also important to know the categories of people who are mostly abused. They include the following. Some unprofessional teachers, sugar mummies and sugar daddies, some drivers, boda men, unkind neighbors, house girls and house boys, unfaithful friends, uncles and aunties, some bad parents and guardians, to mention but a few. It is indeed important to note that the situation of child abuse and neglect in Busoga region is bad and there is need for action in order to save the situation. Recommendations. We recommend the following as children. We request the government of Uganda to put strict measures against people who employ children in homes and other places where children do minor jobs. The government should increase on the budget allocation on the issues of child protection and local government. Birth certificates should be provided free to all children below the age of 10 years. Child protection movements against child abuse and neglect should be allowed to operate in all districts. More sensitization should be done, especially in villages, against child abuse and neglect. Thank you for listening to the voice of children, for God and my country.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the children to go back to their seats and the members of parliament to me, please.
She may be arranged differently.
May you please come back, members of parliament. In honor for the children.
Okay, so you hand the chair. The chair here, right? Thank you. Yes, yes. A great job done. We really appreciate what you have done today. And of course, we appreciate Samson, who has made you what you are, a star, in terms of enabling you to get all the skills for the media. We are honored today that we have not one, but 4 members of parliament who are part of the platform that looks at child rights in parliament. And therefore, we are deeply honored that they have found time to come and do this. As you know, members of parliament are very busy people, and usually they don't have all the time. Oh, thank you very much. I hope it can fit my yes, it fits. Okay, good. And we therefore value each and every moment that they are here. Honorable members of parliament and the chairperson of the platform for child rights, we would like to say that today, as the NGO Forum, with all our partners, who include organizations that work on child issues, came together to hold this celebration of the 20th November, which, as you know, is the Universal Children's Day. This year's theme is children taking over and turning the world blue. We would have asked you to put on blue, but because we know sometimes it's not very simple to get the colors quickly, at least the setup has been made blue, so that we know that children are taking over. And as you know, the color blue is a color for peace, a color for calmness, a color that is, when we say blue ocean, we don't ever think about it as anything but a calm, peaceful ocean. And so today on the 20th, we decided that as Ugandan non-government organizations, we should come together and do this. As you know, many times before, our colleagues who work in the child rights sector have been the ones who are promoting issues on children. But a couple of years ago, they challenged us and said that you, the mainstream NGOs, should also make sure that you are part of issues of promoting child rights, both here in the center, but also at local government level. So the NGO Forum embraced that part of the function, and our role has been to build a movement across this country with UNICEF and other partners, so that we could have child rights not only become a sector issue, but become a cross-cutting issue that brings together all actors in development. Because we know that what happens to all the children who are here is not only something that is important to them, but it is something that says a lot about our country. Many psychologists have told us that the first 7 years determine how we live afterwards. If they feed you negative thoughts in the first 7 years, it's very likely that you'll have negative thoughts all over into your life. But if they feed you positive thoughts and positive language in the past 7 years, you can be much better than that. So today, we would like to ask that we continue with this movement building by ensuring that not only us, but all citizens of Uganda become champions for children. And this day should mark that. So with those words, I would like to invite our chairperson to come and address us, give us some words of wisdom, and probably see how to bring this to a conclusion. But before he does that, maybe Samson, I will ask you to just give the microphone to the other members of Parliament.
Thank you very much. I'm called Karunji Elizabeth Bicherize. I'm a woman member of Parliament for Kanungo District, and I am the Vice Chairperson of the Parliamentary Forum for Children's Issues. And I'm glad to be here, and we thank God for this day, and we thank God for our children. And I'm so glad that I've heard a lot since morning, but there's no time anyway. Let me stop at that. Thank you very much. We are so grateful. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, children. My name is Akelo Judith Franca. I am a member of Parliament representing Agago District. How many of you know where Agago is? Okay, it's good news. Agago is in the northern part of Uganda. After Gulu, you go eastwards and you get Agago District, bordering Karamoja. That's why I'm a little taller than all these other members of Parliament. At Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Children, I am the Secretary General. So I am the one in charge of your affairs, your secretariat in Parliament. I'm very glad to see this today. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Andrew Kiza Kaluya. How many know Kaluya? I can see back there. That's my school. I represent those children. I'm a member of Parliament representing the people of Chigulu South constituency in Uganda District. I'm a member of the Uganda Parliamentary Children's Forum in Parliament. I'm a champion of children's rights. And I'm so happy, especially to the NGO Forum, for giving us this opportunity to interact with the children a little more. And also, at a personal level, I'm happy that the case study is featuring and mainly centering on the Soga region, and more specifically, Chigulu South constituency. My headmistress, how are you? Work to the people. That one is my very ardent supporter, and I'm really glad that she's here. We shall work hand in hand to continue championing the rights of the children. Thank you. Have a good time.
With your distinguished invited guests and our host, the children of Uganda, I salute you this afternoon. Good afternoon. I would have loved to shake your hands, but to symbolize that I've greeted you, can you shake your neighbor's hand? Thank you. Say peace be with you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy and delighted to be with you to officiate this very important function. As we all know, today the world is joining hands together to remember the children, the foundation of humanity, the future of humanity. And therefore, for those of you who have been able to put resources together to recognize this day, to ensure that Uganda does not miss out on this very important occasion of celebrating the Day of the Child. It's very important. I want to thank you NGO Forum. I want to thank you all the stakeholders for ensuring that this day is recognized the way it is done now. My name is Atiku Bernard. I represent the people of Waivu County, and I've seen one of my voters is around. Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Children, of course, is a forum that we formed in the Parliament. It was established way back in the 6th Parliament, and for all these years it has been in existence, advocating for the rights and well-being of the children in this country at the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. So I want at this particular moment to appreciate our patron, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, who was the draftsman that put in place the constitution of this forum, the objectives for which this forum stands, and that we are implementing as of now to ensure that the children have a voice at the National Assembly. So, children, can we clap for the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker and the Speaker, who is also one of the champions at Parliament. Anytime we approach her and tell her we have issues to do with children, she leaves other things behind and ensures that we are on the order paper or we are given a platform to express those issues. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the Speaker for standing in for the children. Now, our invitation in this occasion today is very important to us, because this morning we had a breakfast meeting where we engaged with key stakeholders from government, with the Attorney General as the chief guest. You know the role of the Attorney General. He represents government on all legal matters. And therefore this morning we had him as the chief guest to put across the issues that we feel have not been addressed legally to protect our children in this country. And he honored the invitation. Today we also had the DPP, the Directorate of Public Prosecution, with the man himself present. That is Honorable Justice Chibita. We also had invited the IGP, because the IGP is one of those that is at the forefront of ensuring that children, once children's rights are abused, the perpetrators must be brought to book. An investigation must be done. And therefore, we invited the IGP to be with us, because we have issues to put across. But above all, the members of Parliament who are present. And to mark this occasion of today, as UPFC, we also visited yesterday the children's remand home in Naguru, because there are children who come in contact with the law. There are children who are also who get arrested after committing either minor or criminal offenses. So we went to the remand home to see the situation in which they are and to hear from them. And this afternoon, we will be summarizing the day with a motion on the floor of Parliament to commemorate the Universal Children's Day. And what has just happened here fits within those undertakings that we had committed as Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Children to commemorate this day. Your submission of the petition highlighting all the issues that need to be addressed has served this purpose very well. And I want to commend the children for putting together this petition. And I can assure you, this afternoon, among the documents that I'll be laying on the floor of Parliament will be this petition that you have just submitted. And for the assurance that indeed this will generate debate and action, all petitions that are submitted on the floor of Parliament are sent to the relevant committees. And the relevant committees undertake to ascertain that the issues therein in the petition are factual, and they report back to Parliament. And when they report back on the petition, the report is debated and the resolutions are passed. And once the resolutions are passed, they are sent to the relevant ministries for action. Meaning you have just ignited an action point for which government and various agencies must respond to address those iniquities. Yes, today, as we commemorate this day, as a country, we also have our own theme, which talks of increasing investments in prevention and response services on violence against children. Meaning we are focusing on violence against children in this country. Now, I have reports, about 3 reports that have come to my desk to remind us of our duty and obligation on curbing violence against children in this country. And I must report that on a sad note, Uganda has not been doing well in as far as the report concerning the status of child friendliness is concerned in this country. Among about 52 countries in Africa, Uganda ranks 40th as one of those countries that is less child-friendly. And this is a drop from the position of 30th 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we were doing much better. Instead of progressing towards number 1, we are dropping towards the end tail. The children have told us here that they suffer sexual abuse, they suffer child labor, they suffer extreme measures of violence against children where they are sacrificed by those who are looking for riches. Is that what makes us the happiest or one of the happiest countries in the world? Or it should make us one of the saddest countries in the world? These are very important statistical indicators that all stakeholders must reflect on. If from bad we are going towards the worst, what does that entail? Because a child who suffers violence is exposed to trauma, and this has a long-lasting impact on the development of this child. Yesterday when we went to the remand home, we were told by children who are in custody that they spend more than 6 to 1 year, sometimes in police cells, sometimes they are mixed up in Luzira and other prisons with adults without being referred to the right remand home. Because a child who is in conflict or in contact with the law is supposed to be remanded to a children's home, not to a civil prison. But that is what is happening. And children have been taken to prisons because the police is extorting money from them. The police, without shame, is asking the children to buy their freedom. Children are rotting in prisons and remand homes because they are being forced to admit to have committed offenses that they have not even committed. A child who is in contact with the law is supposed to spend less than 24 hours in police custody before being referred for further management within agencies that deal with children. But in our country, instead of the 24 hours, they spend 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and they are the end. Some of the children who have ended up in children's homes, remand homes, are there because they have been framed after somebody thinking that this child is his or her property for child labor. We are the girls that we see here, some of them are there in remand homes, having been, taken over by those who think they should be their housemates. We had a testimony from a child who has got all the way from Kabarole, promised to be paid 100,000 shillings, brought to Kampala, and on reaching Kampala, the 100,000 became 20,000, and the load of work became unbearable. The girl said, can you take me back home to my parents? The woman, responds by locking up this child in the room. And finally, she gets access to a phone and calls the sister to pick her up. And she's picked and taken back to her ancestral home. The woman follows her up with allegations that she stole her laptop and 1 million shillings. You can imagine the kind of heart we have for children. So this report reflects exactly what we do to children. Recently here in Njinda, it was all over the media. A mother cut into pieces her own child. We have heard of cases where fathers defile their own daughters, uncles, aunties. A child steals 1,000 shillings, you respond by burning the hands. So this report is factual, but it's the reality that calls on us to act, to change this scenario of events. The prayers that have been made here, we have made a commitment as UPFC. First and foremost, I want to report that we were able to push the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development to amend the Children's Act, which they had failed to do for almost 10 years, since 2004. We amended the Children's Act, the President assented to it, but we are still having a battle with putting in place the regulatory framework which the ministry should table before Parliament to enable the various agencies of government, particularly police, to implement the provisions within that law, because the law talks about the rights and welfare of our children. So having a good law without an implementation mechanism is as good as nothing. So I want to appeal to all of us to push the ministry to ensure that the regulatory framework is put in place so that this law can be used to protect the rights of the children as it has been put forward to us here. As UPFC, we're also working together with Uganda Women Parliamentary Association to put in place the Sexual Offences Bill, which we would like to tailor to protect the girl child from early marriages, from defilement, from rape, and all sorts of extreme violence that our girl child has experienced. So with your prayers, we are hopeful that before the term of this Parliament expires, we will have a Sexual Offences Bill in place. Last but not least, as the chair of UPFC, I am also championing another bill called the Human Sacrifice and Harmful Traditional Practices Bill. We have heard of cases, we have seen cases of children being sacrificed, and the existing legal regime seems to be inadequate for us to cast the net wide to capture some of these culprits. And therefore, I want to appeal to you to be on the lookout as we work on this bill that is intended to put an end to human sacrifice. Because from our investigations, people are sacrificing children after being advised by witch doctors. And the Witchcraft Act that we inherited from the colonial period has become obsolete. So we are scrapping it off or repealing it so that we put in place a hybrid and comprehensive legal regime that can deal with those who believe in witchcraft and human sacrifice, particularly child sacrifice. So I want to thank you for the invitation you have extended to us. As said, today we mark the 29th anniversary of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, to which Uganda is a signatory. Now, as we move to the 30th year, which is next year, 2019, I want to be in the audience when we have the head of state as the chief guest. If truly the children are the foundation of humanity in this country, if children are the future of this country, the number one of this country must honor an invitation to celebrate the children of this country. A platform where children will be able to, where all of us will actually be able to speak for the children, to raise these issues to the head of state so that he can direct the various agencies and ministries to swing into action. Because some of the issues really have been repeated over time. When we say give money to Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, which is charged with ensuring that the rights of our children are observed, nobody listens. If we say give money to the probation office, right from ministry up to the sub-county level, nothing happens. Because for us to be able to secure justice for children who have been abused or who have experienced violence in the various settings, we need the technical and expert arm of the probation office at all these levels, and they need resources. So I want to appeal to NGO Forum to work together with the Children's Forum and Uganda Child Rights NGO Network, with which we were this morning, for us to prepare in time for the 30th anniversary of UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which I also propose that should take place in a school environment. Because that is where the message should sink, that is where all of us should converge and cast away some of these black spots that are bedeviled in our country, and as far as observing the rights of our children is concerned. So I want to thank you for the invitation, and I would like to wish you good celebrations, and also pledge that we will deliver your message to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, and thereafter also give you feedback on what steps will have been taken. I've said all this for God and my country. In our forum we say, children first. Can everybody repeat after me? Children first. Can we put children first? Thank you very much. God bless you.
As he has said, put children first. And children, you need to remember, you tell yourself that I am the future.
I am the future.
Louder.
I am the future.
You pray that but I'll never become a member of parliament. Me, I'll remain the media. Honorable Atiku, I will make a promise that as the media, with our spy cameras, will soon get to you with which members of parliament are employing children on their building projects,
and which members of parliament are employing children illegally in their houses. NBS investigates is going to smoke them out. You can be sure of that. So on that one, we're going to get on this, and you will know who is lip servicing when at home. They're employing kids when on their building projects, on their farms, they have kids that are underage. That's our pledge as the media. These cameras are coming to an MP near you. Hopefully it will not be one of those on the platform. Hopefully not. Malaika, what comes next?
So I wanted to thank the members of parliament once again for taking their time to come and talk to us.
And do you think it's a good idea to have a picture with a member of parliament? Do you kids want to?
Yes, children, you want to take a picture with the members of parliament? Yes.
Okay, where do we go, Malaika? The other side?
We are going outside to take a picture.
I just want to say I love you, Lord, for the miracles you've done to set us free. Hey, if anybody asks me who you are, I will say, God of miracles. So many you did before our eyes, and many other ones we can't explain. Oh, Jesus. If anybody asks me who you are, I will say, God of miracles. You are holy. You are holy. You are righteous. You are righteous. You do miracles. You do miracles. Hallelujah. God of miracles. Hey, hey, hey. You are holy. You are holy. You are righteous. You are righteous. And you do miracles. You do
I have a very big God, and He's always by my side. That's why I do big things. Hallelujah. There's nobody bigger. Say.
There's nobody bigger than you.
Nobody can love me.
Nobody can love me like the way you do.
Took away all the pain of my yesterday.
Took away all my pain of my yesterday.
Supply.
Supply all my needs each and every day. I don't wanna go a day without giving you praise.
There's no other God for me.
There's no other God for me.
Save my soul, give me
Save my
hope.
soul, give me hope, give me liberty.
There ain't nothing that you can do.
There ain't nothing